Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I want to introduce my special guest today, Cathy from Candy Apples. I mean, she needs no introduction, but for those of you that are new here, please meet Cathy.
Hello, everybody.
My arch nemesis on the show.
Yes, well,
yes.
But you know, Abby, we were friends before lovers, right?
Don't let that rumor get out. That's all we need. That's all we need.
But you know what I mean. We were friends. We were friends before we were frenemies, is what I probably should say. Hey.
Yes, yes. And I want you to talk a little bit about that. Before a television show, before the craziness and the producers got involved, we were colleagues, members of an organization that will remain nameless, members of an organization that we saw each other at nationals every year. And you occasionally, and correct me if I'm wrong, brought some kids down to train at my studio or to get critiqued on their solos, interviews, whatever, just get them out of Ohio, get another set of eyes on them. And we were friends and we laughed and we had fun and you had your baby girl.
The way that I actually got hooked up with you was, and you're going to remember this guy's name, I hope, Owen Goldman.
Yes.
You remember him? Okay. So he wanted me to do like a dance pageant, and he kind of wanted it in the area of Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia. And when we were kind of chatting back and forth about this, he said, well, there's this wonderful dance studio that's in Pittsburgh that her name is Abby Lee. I'm going to give you her phone number. And I called you just like, hi, this is what I'm doing. And you and I talked. And then I think that it was the next summer that you came and brought some kids, and I had a dance camp in a barn. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes. And so you came and you had your girls with their beautiful extensions, and we stood outside and talked. And then the year before Dance Mom started, you came to my dance camp at my studio at Candy Apples, and Vivi was little. So yeah. And I had a girl come to your studio to learn a solo, and you also coached Aaron with a solo close to you.
Oh, Aaron. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I remember you coming down, and I remember like Emma or one of the teachers doing some work. And I remember seeing you guys, and I don't know if the kid came by herself or you were with her or whatever, but I remember all this. Now, when the TV show was starting, which we didn't know what it would be or what it was or anything, I knew because another colleague from the same dance organization who I knew, a kid growing up, John Corella, he was creating this show. And he called me 3 times a day, every single day, come hell or high water, to ask me questions about dance competitions and kids and moms, because he didn't know that world. He was now a professional dancer. He grew up in it.
Yeah.
His mom and dad were like kind of normal and hey, whatever, and they trusted the teacher back in those days. And, all was good. So he was picking me for information. Now, I remember you calling me and saying, are you really doing a TV show at your dance studio? And me saying, well, I don't know what they're doing. They're coming, they're having interviews. Well, I submitted a tape and they chose us, and I'm coming. And I said, come down and we'll have lunch. Like, do your interview and we'll go eat or whatever.
We went to Mohan's.
There you go. Because we always do.
Yeah. And yes. Well, I remember saying to you, is this just for Pittsburgh people, or can Ohioans come? And you said, oh my God, they'd love you. And who would have thought? So yeah, so I did come.
Well, who would have thought that you were the first person cast on the show?
Yeah, I still can't figure that out, because I kept saying to them, I am not what you're looking for. I am not what you're looking for.
Well, you were. Batshit crazy is always what they're looking for. So tell them, can you tell the viewers about your interview? And this is a big misconception with the show. And this is where all the drama with the kids happened. And I'm sure that many of those children, they won't admit this. The mothers won't admit this, but the kids never auditioned for the show. Had they had to audition, you know, if that was called an audition,
Mhm.
I guarantee you that some of those children, one mom with two girls, would have never brought her kids to an audition because they weren't prepared. They weren't ready. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Another one, you know, if they had to miss school, she wouldn't have been there because she was not allowed to miss an hour of school. You know, things like that, different variables. But the kids sat in a chair next to their mothers. They were never auditioned. So can you take our viewers through Vivian
Sure,
and
sure,
you sitting there?
sure.
And they
So,
were hours behind schedule, hours late.
all right. So what happened was I kept getting phone calls from John Corella and telling me what time my interview was. And we're 2 hours away from you. So it was kind of a cold, blustery day. It was snowing. And when we got there, I was, what should Vivi wear? And now looking back at it, they were very evasive, well, whatever, practice wear, whatever, because they knew that the kids probably weren't going to be interviewed. So, or a costume. So Vivi had this darling little costume on and she had her hair all pulled up. And our interview, I think, was supposed to be around 11. And we were at least an hour to 2 hours late in getting in there. So the whole way over, I'm kind of prepping Vivi because I had no idea what it was all about. And, say, hi, my name is Vivi Stein and all this. Well, by the time that we got in, Vivi was over it. She could have cared less. All she cared about was that she was hungry and that was it. So as the process started, she just sat there very mutely and they asked me some questions. And that's when I started to see that I'm not a dance mom. I'm a dance teacher. And my husband doesn't get mad if I spend X amount of dollars for competition because that's our bread and butter. And he's all gung-ho on us doing this kind of stuff. That's what helps put a roof over our heads. So I started to say to them, I'm not what you're looking for at all. I'm a dance teacher. Well, the producer or the gentleman that was running the audition, I think, knew how to stick the dagger in you and get you started because he kind of started to pick on Vivi. Well, she doesn't seem like she's very interested anyhow. Are you sure she really wants this? Well, a little bit of stage mom kicked in and I was like, well, yes, of course, look how cute she is. And sure, she would want this, but I'm not who you want. It ended up that as I was concluding my interview, I was kind of irritated because Vivi wouldn't do anything. And I looked at her and I said, honey, just get up and show the guy that you know how to do sugars. Because Vivi was very quiet. So just get up and show the man that you know how to do sugars. And she was like,
Now, for everybody, sugars, what Cathy's referring to is an old jazz step from the 40s. It's called sugar foot. It's like a little twist thing where you walk forward and it's cute and everybody
little kids always do it. Little kids always do it. So that was
can always
the best thing for me to tell her to do.
It's not easy to teach, actually.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not.
Right.
But anyhow, so she was like, I don't want to do it. So, I'm thinking cameras are down and we're all done. And I'm getting up and I'm like, Vivi, honey, are you hungry? And she, And I said, I'm not going to feed you unless you show the man sugars. That was the nail in the coffin because he was recording that. And as we walked out to go to lunch with you, he came running out and said, do I have headshots of you? And it was like, no. Well, I need more pictures of you. And I was like, okay. So Abby, honestly, when we got in the car after eating lunch with you, I said to my mom, who my mom and Mike always had to go with me. I said, I'm not getting involved. I'm just not doing that. I'm not going to get involved. I don't think I want to do this. So, and then I get the phone call that I'm in.
That you're in.
Yeah, so I get that phone call.
And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of it all. So we talked about our relationship before Dance Moms. We were friends. We were colleagues. We would see each other at conventions. We would hug. We would kiss. I would play with Vivi. And that's how it was. Did we compete against each other? Yes. And I remember at Nationals, you were running one of the title pageants. And I don't know if you had kids in it or not, but I had kids there. But it was like, old home week when you went to those big national conventions and we all knew each other and we were all competing, but we had a respect for each other and we loved what we were doing. And we are all there for the same reason, to better dance education. Right now, how did filming a reality show change your life, your family, your home life, as well as your business?
Well, because I filmed with you for that first, I think they called those first 6 episodes the pilot or something, that we did about 6 episodes, whatever. And Vivi went to private school, and I was a big baby about it. I didn't want to travel. I didn't want to jet set around. I was very happy with my life here, very cozy, a bug in a rug here in Ohio. And, when it first premiered, and we were in Florida. I don't know if you remember that, but that's when we had those big grievances at nationals.
Well, I remember Chloe was holding a title.
Yes, because Justice was as well, or Justice was trying out, I believe. I had Sarah. Sarah was my title winner.
Okay, so we were all there. We had to be there.
Yes.
But I think that organization made a huge mistake.
Oh, yes. Yes.
They offered to film it. They offered to put it in wonderful light and make it this beautiful thing on television, because it was a great pageant. And that organization, had they done that, would have went whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, they definitely played that old school, and they definitely, in some regards, I'm going to tell you, I think some of those ladies were jealous. They were jealous, because I remember one of them looking at me during the grievance and saying, "You're going to be famous." And I was like, so they say, I don't know where this is going, but, and a couple of the older ones sat there with frowns on their face, whereas she was like, "You're going to be famous. Like, this is awesome." So yeah, they played it old school, and they shouldn't have. But when getting back to the question, when the show first came out, oh my God, I mean, I've been talked about because I'm a dance teacher. We all experience that, but I've never been talked about the way I was talked about on social media. And I didn't even want to go out of the house. Like, I would go to my local, oh my God, it was horrible. I would go to my local mall, and there would be looks and stares, and I would feel like I just wanted to get through the mall as quick as I can. And you know how I love to shop. I wanted to get through the mall as quick as I can with my head down. I didn't want anybody looking at me because of all of the horrible things that people were saying. And so that really affected me. And I honestly think that, the show, although it was great, and it gave us a lot of notoriety, and it helped me put Vivi through private school for 12 years, because when I add that up, the amount is ridiculously high. But it didn't do justice for my dance studio, and still to this day, and I'm sure you get this as well, because I've talked to the other moms occasionally, and they say this, is Cathy really like the way she was? Is Abby really like the, and the show didn't put us in a good light. So people that are unknowing don't want to come to your dance studio because they think that kind of stuff is going on. So because the producers were from Hollywood and thinking, oh, this is going to skyrocket you, it didn't. It did the reverse to me.
Well, I'm not glad to hear that, but I certainly can relate. And, hindsight's 2020. If I could go back and do things differently, to take a studio and you pick 4 kids out of a group of 18, 4 kids get on a TV show and 14 quit.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same situation, because I would have girls that, well, why are they on the show? Particularly when season 2 came around. And honestly, I think there's a misconception as to why season 2 happened with me leaving.
Okay, well, hold that for 1 second. So when I first saw the premiere of the show, we were in Vegas still shooting. It never ended for 8 years. I see outfits I'm wearing in interviews, and I don't even remember those clothes. I'm like, oh, I like that shirt. Where is that? Like, where did I buy that? Where did I get that? Did I take it back? Did I what? I don't even remember stuff. So I remember, though, sitting in this bar, lounge, pub kind of place in Vegas, watching the premiere that they had rented out, on the cheap. And I watched it. Gianna was sitting next to me, watched the show, and I just rolled my eyes and I thought, no one is ever going to watch this crap. It is so bad. So I wasn't offended at, I wasn't looking so much at how heavy I was or how bad I looked or my hair. I was looking at the dancing, and I was looking at the way it was edited, and the horrible music that they put over the music that we actually use because they wouldn't pay for the real music. I was looking at that as a dance show thinking, no one's ever going to watch this. We're done. This was a one-hit wonder. We're out of here, So when Jump, literally 4 months later, and I'm on the side of a bus like this and on a billboard in Times Square and all over the place, it was just crazy.
It was crazy.
You know me, I had worked very, very hard to create professional working dancers. That was my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that for my students. So my goal was to have a kid working. And I did at Tokyo Disneyland or whatever the first job was. Then I wanted a kid on Broadway, and I busted my butt driving those kids back and forth. Kathy, I did that.
Oh, I know you did.
Their parents didn't do that. They weren't going to take off work to drive to New York City tomorrow at 4:00. I was doing that. I was leaving my studio. I was leaving my bread and butter, my livelihood, the roof over my head, and hiring a substitute so I could take somebody else's kid to make them better. And I did. I got that kid on Broadway, and then another, and then another. So for me, the TV show was kind of like, I'm kind of down and out. My dad passed away. The money is crazy. No one's paying their bills. They're all here. They're all still taking class. They're just not paying. And not everyone, but a lot of people. And a lot of people had quit because of the economy after 2008.
Yeah.
So by 2010, I was struggling as a young woman with a loan for over almost $1 million for 9.75% interest. I was dying. Mm-hmm. So I thought, maybe this is my ticket out. Maybe this is something, never imagining that the wonderful things that did happen, but also the negative.
Yeah.
And I feel that I went to prison because of the way I was depicted on the show.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with my finances or this or that or anything else. I had an attorney. I had a CPA. I had, I was doing what I was told to do.
Right.
And now,
and I still say this every time somebody, and of course, you can't answer everybody because it's a needle in a haystack, but there will be times that some little snot nose will say something, and I will say, hey, I was a paid actor. I did what I was told.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, because same thing. I was getting paid to do a job. And if I didn't bring it, and I didn't cause the chaos, and I didn't stir the pot, I wasn't doing my job. And I was called in by the network. You have to do this, you have to do that. And then when I did my job and I crossed the line, ooh, Abby said this, and we're going to find her. And ooh, we have to talk to a psychologist and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you guys need to figure out what you want.
Yeah, which side of the fence you want to be on.
Yeah, if you want me to go in hard and go after this mother or this kid or whatever, I'm going to do it. If you don't want me to do it and I'm going to play nice, I'm going to tell her, oh, she's wonderful. Don't worry about pointing those feet. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's crazy, And so, and it's always on like reality people, like you see people getting in trouble and this and that, because we didn't go to, I didn't go to Carnegie Mellon for theater. I wasn't a trained paid actress getting a script in my hands.
Right.
I wish I would. I wish I would have, because I would get residuals and I'd be set.
Yeah.
Right now with the cancer and the chemo and the paralysis and, go home and take it easy, honey, you'll be fine. When cancer was choking my spinal cord, I feel like I'm doing a life sentence, not 8 months or a year and a day. This is a life sentence being in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And I blame those producers and the network, I in part, because the way I was depicted. Even when you roll into a hospital emergency room and they look at you and know who you are, they don't want to get yelled at. Oh, is she going to yell at me? Is she going to talk to me the way she talks to those kids?
Well, Abby, I think that there was so much more premise with what they were dealing with that we didn't have to be depicted that way. And there could have been, like, we could have had like a really interesting rivalry. It didn't have to be the way it was. It could have been really interesting and really fun. But I feel that the show, and I always tried to be very respectful to every producer that I had and do what they said and just, move on at the end of the day. I know, but you were doing it a lot more than I was. I mean, you were filming day in and day out, and I wasn't, because
52
going back to
episodes.
right, and going back to where I was going with that, season 2 came along, and Vivi was already registered at school, and I remember crying and saying, I'm not going back. I'm not moving to Pittsburgh. And then that's when, of course, they developed, well, we'll come to you. And, the rivalry started. And I don't know if you know this, but when we first started the show, I used to say to myself, I am not going to let this ruin my friendship with Abby. I'm not going to let this ruin my friend. And lo and behold, that is what happened. Because I remember one time, I'll start crying. I remember one time when I came over to your studio with one of my students, you hugged me goodbye and said, I need more friends like you. And that meant so much to me, because I held you in such a huge regard of creativity and talent. And that meant so much to me. And that's why I kept saying to myself, I am not going to let my friendship be ruined. But I feel that the show really took a turn to be very mean-spirited. And I used to say that it was like, you were in a fun house. You didn't know what was popping out at any corner, what was going to be thrown at you, what was being told to you. And people who are reality people that are gullible in watching the show. I mean, I've ran into people that are very intelligent and will say, we get it. It was for entertainment. You guys were great. It's those people that, that they think that it was really real, and it wasn't real, but it was real that you and I stopped being friends, and that was heartbreaking for me.
Yes, and it was real that we were put in those situations, and you, like you said, a fun house. You didn't know when you were going to get blindsided by a punch to the right. You didn't know who was going to slap you in the face next. You didn't know. You went there, you woke up in the morning and you got in hair and makeup, and you went there hoping this is going to be a good day. Let's get the routines on the stage. Let the chips fall where they may. Let's just get these kids out there and do the dances. And that's not what ever happened.
Yeah.
And for those people who are fans, who were super fans, who loved every minute, there were people, grown adults, that were paid to do a job to manipulate us, to get under our skin, to cause the chaos. And that people have to remember, they did nothing all day and all night when we wrapped, and they would go and they would eat, and then they would work all night long on how, I'm crying too, on how they could cause Abby to lose her mind and Cathy to cross the line and to ensue a fist fight so they could jump in and stop it. Instead of being clever, instead of saying, okay, now these dancers are on stage, why don't we have this mom go to Abby and say, what do you think of Cathy's training? Or like, let's get into more of the dancing and more of what would really happen. Moms, every time and I'm sure this happened with you, every time we went to a competition in our state and your kids won, the next day, Monday, the phone was ringing off the hook for all these kids that wanted to quit their studios and come to you and come to me. And it happened. And Abby, Miss Nice Guy, who people don't really know, would say, I need you to stay with your teacher. You have an excellent teacher. Just tell her you want to go to more things than this organization's conventions 3 times a year. Go to other things. Go, when Dance Alliance or West Coast or Gil comes to town, go to that stuff. Go to more stuff. It's going to make your child a better dancer. Mm-hmm. That's what we should have had happening, because that's reality. That really happens. When a kid gets sick backstage and you have to reblock the number, that causes us chaos.
Right.
Causes us to lose our minds.
It was ridiculous how the format was. I had to constantly sit behind you and you know, them texting to say, get in her ear, say this, say that. I remember at a competition, we were in New York City, and I held my phone up and said, do you as an audience want to see what is being sent to me? Because it was ridiculous.
People don't understand that they're telling you what to say. They're actually texting you, telling you what to say.
And to this day, I get people saying to me, well, why did you go in her dressing room? Oh my God, Abby, if you knew the times on my end of the line where I would say, I'm not going in. I'm absolutely not going in. They won, or you know, the rare occasions that we won.
And push you and push you and push you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember I came in and I said something at one particular competition and turned around and walked back out. And I said, there, I went in, I said something, and they were like standing there pushing me to go back in because I hadn't given them enough content.
And I knew at the end of every competition, those mothers had to stay in that dressing room. We had to stay there until there was a fight.
Yeah.
So the mothers got to the point where, okay, this is what we're going to fight about. Let's just go, just fight. And then we'd all go out to eat, and it was fine. Like, it was so ridiculous.
And it was ridiculous.
Happy
there was so much more that they could have developed, and so much more that they could have, like you said, you know, the kid gets sick at the last minute. We've all been there. Or the kid twists her ankle in the routine before. We've all been there. We have to stand in the back of the theater and redo things, and you go here and you go there. That would have been just as entertaining.
There's so many things that I gave them. I gave them so much material years before a TV show, years. You know, somebody's mother was having an affair with somebody else's dad, and we would go to the conventions and they'd go upstairs and get a room, and nobody knew this was going on. You know, things like that. I caught somebody's husband and somebody's wife making out behind my dance studio. Like, there were so many other crazy things that would have added a completely different element to the show. They didn't want to hear about any of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, when you look back on it, oh my God, it was so corny, the way that they had to do the same format every single week. And it was like, oh my God, where's the variety?
Where do we have to go to a competition every week? Like, why?
Yeah,
why?
Exactly.
Can't the competition get canceled and we go to the mall and we perform, like, something else?
Yeah.
No. So I created a new show. It's a scripted show, and you know, there has to be a climax every week, and they do mall openings, shopping center openings, a parade, like different things every week. It's not a dance competition every week. I mean, that just gets so ridiculous and so boring. But I think both of us did a lot for a few dance competitions. They were nobodies. They had one-day events, couple hours, and then all of a sudden, they have these huge dance competitions. They're 3 days, 2 rooms happening at the same time because of Dance Moms.
Yeah.
Because of the TV show and being featured on television all over the world. And yeah, where are those people now? I can judge. I'm available.
Yeah.
You're available. Vivi's over.
Yeah, I never get reached out to anything like that. Now, I did do an interview with a place called Dance Bugs. You know who that is?
You know what they are.
Yeah, they go and do the video of competitions.
They sell you the judging thing. So it's like the scoring, the tabulating, the video while you're tabulating, and talking over the video. That's what Dance Bug is. Because I'm doing a dance competition and convention, like a big American style thing in Europe. And so maybe we'll have to bring you in Europe. And I know you don't like to fly, but it's worth the trip to go to Paris and London. It's worth it. But to go there and you buy their system is what it is. And they're trying to do more on social media and stuff with that Dance Bug. So I know Gianna did an interview with them too. Right. But I feel like we put some dance competitions on the map.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And
yeah, I agree.
Can say this loud and clear right now. I don't care. They owe me. They owe me. Hire me. Let me come and judge. And again, I'm not the person that I was on television screaming and yelling and calling kids this, that, or the mothers and going crazy. I'm going to sit there in a wheelchair because I can't move. And I am going to judge the competition. And I'm one of the best judges you're ever going to find.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to fix things that can be fixed. I'm going to tell you what to do to make this kid's dance better the next time around, or their costume or their hair or their makeup or whatever. And I can do that. So can you, you know? So why do you have this one and that one and Joe Nobody judging your competition when you can
I call them podunk judges.
Yes. I mean, you can have me, you know, and the kids are going to come up, they're going to hug me, they're going to want a picture with me, and it's going to be a positive, wonderful thing. It's not what was created on the show, because I don't have these idiot psycho producers in my ear telling me to do this and do that, or I'm going to get fined.
Well, you know, we've always said, my mom and I, when people have approached us, you know, on what's Abby like? Is Abby really like that? And we always say,
that's the first question,
we
right?
know the other side of Abby. We know the good-hearted side of Abby.
I know, and I felt bad. I was so mean to your mom and so mean to your husband.
Yeah,
and,
I don't think she's ever.
I don't think I was ever really mean to Vivi. Was I?
Oh no, you weren't ever really mean to Vivi. In fact, I want Vivi to come say hi. But I think my mom was stunned when you said that she was pathetic. I think that did get ingrained in her heart.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember. But I wish I still had my mom with me every day. That was rough. And I can't even watch. I don't really watch the episodes, but I'm doing some stuff now with social media, and I have to go back and look at them, and I can't even look at my mother. When I see that one mother on the show who stole from me, who lied, who did this, who did that to me, and I see her with my mother sitting in that hospice room day in and day out, so sweet and nice to my mother, and I think my mother knew deep down inside what she was really like. I just cringe. I just get sick to my stomach. I can't even watch it. My dog dying, my mom dying, all on television for the whole world.
I know. I mean, a lot. They actually invaded a lot on your private life.
Yes.
With those kind of things. That was a huge invasion. Yeah. And I never, even on this side, even if I was, you know, fighting or arguing with you, I never approved of that. I never approved of that, because that was your personal time for, you know, and they wanted me to talk about some things. And I used to say to them, that's my reality. That's not the world's reality. I'm going to keep that to myself. And so I always felt that a lot of the things that they did with you was a huge invasion.
Well, thank you.